All right, guys, and welcome back to Real Honesty with KayReenea. I am KayReenea, watching on YouTube. Appreciate it. So today, with me for my December Arthur Spotlight, I have the one and only Miss Tay Mo'nae with me.
Hey.
So happy she's here. I got introduced to your work on, I believe it was on Amazon one day when I was just looking for books or whatever, and I got your first book, which was Let Me Be Your Motivation, which was my first book, I will say.
Yes.
And I loved everything about this book to the point that I found you on Instagram and stalked you, basically. I talked to you because this book, like, I wasn't enjoying, like, I've been enjoying shoes past the getting married and finding out that my fiance was already married to another person. Wasn't like that, but like her challenges with wanting to be like in a relationship, and she thought that she found the right person for him to just be an asshole. I've been there.
Right.
And I loved Amir's character, even though at first he was a little cocky. And then you got to see like the different layers of him. So I love for that. And then I got addicted to your work. And then I read my Kindle. Then my second book from you was And There Was You, which we were talking about. Yes. And then while you was doing the sequel to that, I read a ton of your work. So I went to reading Risking It All for a Bad Boy, and then Serenity and Jax. And then I also read I think I read And Then There Was You Too.
Oh yeah.
Because funny story about that. So I did my December TBR, and I said that I was going to read your book first, and then Butterfly 3 by Ashley Antoinette. I think you should know. I think you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a fan of hers as well. So I was going to say I'm gonna read your book first, and then read her book. Open the page one. Butterfly 3 got me stuck. So I read her book first, and then I read your book. I didn't get done with your book, I think, until like 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, it was long.
Yeah, knowing that I had to get up at 4. So surprisingly though, I was like off energy the entire day, but when I got home I crashed. So yes. So then after that I read Houston Love Story Never Been So Good with Young and Parker's story. And then I honestly, like today, read the first 2 books of When You Love Someone, Need Some. I think it's When You.
When Love Becomes a Need.
Yes.
When Love Becomes a Need or Purpose, and When Love Becomes a Reason.
Yeah. So I read the first 2 books of that right before we got on here.
That's Need and Reason. Okay.
Yes. And then I'm actually just 15% in on Purpose. Yes. And let me just say, Charles is an asshole.
Girl, yes. Everyone, I hated him, like, from book 1, like, from Fatima's book, I hated him, like, ugh.
And I feel as if he's going to get worse as the story goes on.
Kind of. He gets more vocal. He gets more vocal.
Because I've been in a mental relationship as well. When my first relationship was very mental, so I felt her to where she, like, I was at the scene. Spoiler alert! If you haven't read the book, definitely read it. When she just told him that she got accepted in the lingerie, like she got the lingerie.
Yeah, he said like she's too big or something.
But you missed a couple of days. You've been working out. Like what?
Yeah, he was something else. I've been there too, though. I've been in those emotional and mental abusive relationships. So
I was like, I hate this nigga. Why?
I even have a quote from that book. You haven't gotten to it yet, but it's a quote that she gets on her wrist. And I actually have that right here.
Oh wow. Okay, so I definitely gotta read that. So my first question is, how did you get started into writing?
I feel like my answer is so cliche because I feel like so many authors say it, but it literally started when I was younger. I really started taking writing, I won't say serious, but enjoying it more in the 4th grade. I had to actually write a short story for some school project thing, and we had to use the mythological gods, to tell a story. So I did Venus and I think Zeus, and it was how Valentine's Day got developed, because Venus is the goddess of love, whatever. And like my teacher was like really, impressed by the story or whatever. And then I don't know, from there I just kept writing, kept writing. I actually wrote my first technical book, which is a young adult book, in the 9th grade. It was kind of based off of A Secret Life of American Teenager. Like it was about a girl who gets pregnant in high school, whatever.
I love that
Yeah,
show.
so I'm gonna put it out eventually, but I just have to go. I have a lot of vamping to do because, Lord.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of how I got started. Like it started in 4th grade, and it kind of just went on from there. Like every year your school gets those tests, those state tests, and they always have the writing section. Like the writing, like when you have the free prompt, or when there was the free prompt section, that was like my leave me alone. I got this. Like so, it just kind of took off from there, honestly.
Wow, that's dope. So I work in an elementary setting. I'm a library assistant, and we just legit just got done with testing. I think I think we're doing the last 2 tests for 4th and 5th like this week. So I understand with that. So that's dope. Then I realized you're only 26.
Yeah, I just turned 26.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
I feel old because I'm 28.
That's only 2 years.
I know.
Don't say that because then I'll feel old.
To me, it feels old. So the fact that you have over 50 books and you're only 26, how does that feel?
Everyone says that. In all honesty, so half of my catalog was taken down from my old publisher or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like I really didn't realize, like it really didn't hit me until I started putting up my old books, how many I actually had. And like I'm kind of just like, damn, like I really wrote them. And like I even go through sometimes and like kind of read through my old books, and I'm like, damn, like you really wrote this. And I don't know, I don't know, like I mean, of course I'm happy, but at the same time I kind of just feel like there's always more for me to write. So I just never feel satisfied with it, I guess.
Gotcha. So let's get into your latest 2 books.
My babies,
yes. And then there was you, and then there was you too. Let me say, this book, this series was something I've never read before.
Yay.
So that was a plus. I instantly fell in love with the characters, so that was another plus. But I just want to know, what was your writing process and what made you have at the time for the first 2 books you had 4 different stories, and then in the second book you had 5 different stories. So what made you get Nasir, 7, all of them together?
Okay, so honestly, it's really funny because I had just finished Maple Hills and I was working on Remember the Time. And in the process of working on that, I had a whole nother story planned out to write. And I don't remember where it came from, but I might have been watching something or something. But I was like, I want to write a book about a threesome. Like I want it to be about a threesome gone wrong. And literally, when I tell you, it took me 24 hours. I had the idea. I called up two of my author friends, and I was like, "Yo, I got this idea." Da da da. Literally sat on the phone with each of them for probably, I don't know, hours, like individually planning this story out. Literally had the whole story planned out within 24 hours. I knew I wanted to do, on my goal list was always 100K book. And my friends are like, Taylor, this story can get you that. Like, this is going to get you that. You have enough. We have enough. So book 1, I always knew, at first it was just supposed to be the 2 characters. It was just supposed to be Nasir and 7. And then Linnea and Bryson kind of wrote themselves in. And as I was writing, suddenly Nasir had a sister. And suddenly she had an asshole boyfriend. So I was just like, okay, I could run with this. So I'm writing, and I was like, I don't want to take so much focus off of what their situation in book 1 is. So I waited until book 2 to add Deja's part. So I was like, her part isn't strong enough to where it has to be 2 books. Like I can get that all taken off in 1 book, So literally, it honestly wrote itself. Like everything came to me as I wrote, but I knew exactly what I wanted to write, if that makes sense. So
That
like
makes
it
perfect
literally,
sense.
yeah, so it literally wasn't like something where I was just like, I wonder. Like it literally was like I was writing and I knew what I wanted to write, and the scenes that kind of had to be filled in between like wrote themselves. Like nothing felt like a filler scene because I felt like every scene kind of made itself relevant.
Makes sense. So, Night with Deja, that scene where she's finally back on track, leaving her whack ass boyfriend. I just want to say her staying with him. Not gonna tell my view exactly what was the reasoning of staying.
Right.
Her staying as long as she did was more so of a cop out than actually like her actually getting up to leave.
Right.
That was my opinion.
And a lot of people, honestly, I felt a lot of people, I won't say they didn't like Deja, but a lot of people had very similar type of reactions to her. Like a lot of people didn't really care for her approach to her whole situation, especially the fact that she never told her family. She let things go on, whatever. Like a lot of people weren't feeling how she handled the whole situation either.
Yeah, I mean,
Which I was actually shocked, honestly. Like I knew they were gonna be mad that she never told her brother, but outside of that, like I kind of thought people would kind of like get where she was coming from and kind of sympathize with her. But no, a lot of people were like, "Nah, sis, like we don't like that."
I love
And I
her
was
though.
shocked.
She's my favorite character besides Seven. I did love her a lot. Don't get me wrong, but just that scene when he does what he does. That
Right.
scene made me cry.
The choking scene
when she finally tells
Oh yeah. Okay.
about exactly what the previous incident. That scene made me cry.
Right.
Because it's like it should have never gotten this far.
It shouldn't have. It honestly shouldn't have. Especially like the fact that he's like popping up at your house and stuff, and and now you're putting other people in your situation, and it's
Exactly.
like you should have been like spoke up then. If not
Yes.
told your brother, you should have told, Jaheim,
Exactly.
So,
And I mean, granted, Jaheim, the way you describe him is so fine in my book. I really hope you do a spinoff. Everybody, if you guys know, I'm in her Facebook, Taylor Babes books group, and everybody has been saying they need a spinoff of The Agent Engineer.
I'm still
I hope
getting
she's
messages.
listening to me as a fan. It actually does it. But I definitely love them. Like I said before, Seven's my favorite. I love how Seven was just like, listen, I'm not messing with that chick anymore until you get the shit together. I do respect Seven because she stood her ground. Even when she was, I'm just gonna say, even though she became pregnant for Nazir, she was just like, I'm not fucking with you until they find that chick that shot me.
Yeah,
and he really respected.
Yeah, I really like when it came to Seven's character, I really wanted her and Nazir to be like polar opposites.
Yeah.
So I really wanted her to, they were.
They were.
I really want her to be, on the right track. I kind of went back and forth, but I wanted her to be in medical school or law school, but I really wanted her to be on the right track, like really, really a good head, like, not into nothing crazy. Like she's literally like white race, like just there. And I wanted Nazir to be obviously, the total opposite, wild, whatever. And I wanted them to kind of feed off of each other and kind of bring each other's energy into one another. So I think that's why the relationship was so and this kind of goes back to the earlier question you asked, but I think that's why the relationship was so easy to write because I kind of wanted to, I don't want to say melt them into each other, but like literally have them feed off of each other to like where her values and everything fed off to him and vice versa, you know? So I definitely love Sun's character. Like she's definitely I don't usually make my women really like meek or like, kind of toned down, kind of level headed, whatever. Like they kind of act like me, and I'm like ratchet as fuck sometimes. So I don't really make my characters like that. Like I only have like 3, I want to say that, or even like that. But Seven's the most like, chill one out of even all of them, And so writing her was it was fun, it was different. And I really did like her character. Like you said, like she held her ground, she had her values. even in the first book, when like she would slip up with an idea, like she would always be like, no, like I told you, we're not crossing that. Like you got to stop, whatever. Like she always made sure to have those boundaries in play because she respected herself. You know, she respected his relationship. She respected their friendship. Even when he was like trying to dish money, she was like, no, like you're with somebody, you know, whatever. So I really did like Seven and the way she came about, you know, in the end.
So let's get into Leanne and Bryce, and then I'm gonna get into the book I just read. So Leanne and Bryce, I understand where you was going. I do. But at the same time, I felt as if she was very, how can I say this? She felt as if everything she had to do was for her dad's approval.
Right.
And I've never been there, but I will say her dad telling Bryce what happened was none of his concern. And I was glad that she actually stood her ground in the second book because it needed to be done since the first one. Because I felt as if, like I said, there's a scene, I think, when she's at the dinner table and she was saying how she was very disappointed in her mom because her mom never stood up.
Right.
And I felt as if her mom was going, it could be me, but I felt as if her mom was basically just taking, her mom was basically being abused, but it wasn't physical. It was more so a mental thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, it seemed like her mom really didn't work and that she was basically leaning on her dad's financial money to basically survive.
Right.
And whatever, and it felt like if her mom did say something, her dad was going to cut her mom just as well as he was going to easily cut her off too.
Right.
So I was happy that happened, but at the same time, just like, I don't think she should have told him right then and there, but at the same time, I feel as if her dad never should have said anything. Her dad should have probably hinted and then let him roll with the punches with that, but for him to actually say what he said,
with no remorse.
I was just like, nigga, what the hell? Damn.
Yeah. I don't honestly even know where that came from. Like, I knew I was gonna have the best friends, you know, get together. But as I was kind of writing, like I was writing Bryson's character, I can't remember which one showed up first. I think Linnea actually showed up first, but Bryson's personality showed up more first, I believe. But like as I was writing him and like I was kind of showing like because we always read books about the girls being bitter, you know, like the girls being the ones holding on to the hurt, whatever. So like I wanted to switch it up. So like as I was writing him, I was like, okay, he's an asshole, but why? I was like, I don't want him to be an asshole just because he is. Like I want him to have a legit reason as to why he is how he is. Like so it just like kind of like Nazir and Seven like kind of wrote itself, you know, like okay, your dad, like your mom's gone, your dad was never there. You basically grew up alone, and then you finally have your first, you know, companion, your first somebody who actually shows you any type of attention, and then she leaves you. So it's just like everyone you loved and you expected to be there left, you know. And I was like, okay, that's a justifiable reason as to why it would make you bitter and angry, you know, and make you kind of disconnect. But at the same time, Bryson wanted somebody there just to have someone there, you know, like he couldn't be alone, but he couldn't give himself to anybody either.
Yes.
And so, you know, with Linnea and her dad, it was kind of like when you grow up, like you grow up and she never worked, you know, she never had to work for anything. Everything she wanted, her dad gave to her. Right. So it's like when you're put in that position to where everything you know can get snatched away from you, you know, and she's only 17, you know, it's just like a rock and a hard place at that point. Like you're still a child, even, you know, when you turn 18, 19, you're still a child. You don't have anything outside of a high school degree.
Yeah.
Like you can't pay for college. You can't, you know, you have this whole road ahead of you that you have mapped out, but yet and still your dad's literally dangling like you're a damn bunny and it's a carrot, you know? So she was like, you know, she was put in a tough spot. And I battled a lot with Bryson and Linnea because I didn't even know if I wanted them to be together because I felt like at first they were both so far gone. Like he came back and he was like really disrespectful when he came back, you know, even when he, you know, and then book 2, like it didn't get any, like it got a little better in book 1. And then, you know, the The Secret and everything came out, and then book 2 it got worse, and I was just like, can I really make him change in this however many page book, you know? So
Yeah.
as I'm writing him, I'm kind of just like, okay, like as the scenes are going on, I'm kind of like, okay. And then I was talking to my test reader, and she was like, why don't you have just like little intimate whatever. And I was like, we on the same track, because that's how I was seeing, and I was like, by the end of kind of just writing scenes of them together, I'll see how I feel about them,
Yeah.
And then of course, everything played out how it did. But I don't know, that's a tough situation though to be in. Like they both literally kind of had nobody until they had each other, and then they were ripped away from each other. So it's kind of like on both ends, it was like a fucked up situation either way of how things played out. Like you can either, stay with him and be broke and struggle and try to make it through college, or you can leave him, go through college and everything, but you like lose half of yourself type thing, So it was like,
I also love how you put him in therapy.
Oh yeah, I'm really big on therapy. Like
that
really big.
Scene when he was talking to the therapist, and basically she was explaining that even though you may have loved her and you still would have been mad at her, you still would have been using her as a crutch.
Right.
That played with me. I was just like, damn, because you don't see a lot of people. Let's take that back. You don't see a lot of Black men in therapy, let alone Black men in therapy in fictional books.
Right.
9 out of 10, if you do see therapy, a therapy session, that's more so as a family or just
female.
The girl, exactly, the females that's in therapy.
Definitely.
The fact that you put him in therapy and he actually saw it from somebody like other perspective besides his own liens and their friends, I was like, damn, that, yeah. So
yeah, I've been like really heavy. Thank you. I've been really heavy on therapy. I've been in it for like a year. Where I just actually got back into it. I was in it previously, but I just actually got back into it for a couple of months, and it's like helped me clear a lot of like bad space in my head. So I'm like really pro therapy, and I hate the stereotype that people think that it's you go to therapy because you're crazy or whatever, especially like in the Black community, like you said, we don't support it,
the saying, we don't go to therapy, we go to church.
Right, or what's in our house is in our house, And I felt like Bryson's issues were so big that him just trying to, regardless of who he would have been with, he would have been, it all boils down to his childhood. It all boils down to he didn't feel loved, he didn't feel wanted. So even though he had his issues with Linnea, she was a child. You can't put all that, on her, and you can't expect her to be able to carry all that on top of what she was dealing with her parents, with her family, So I really felt like therapy was honestly his only option, especially if I wanted them to work out in any type of way. He needed to face his past with his parents and his demons with that before anything can happen with him, Linnea, anybody else,
Yeah, definitely. So the next thing I'm going to ask was for the first 2 books that I read, Fatima and Ahmed. I honestly love Fatima and Ahmed, more so Fatima, because I've been in her shoes when it came to daddy issues.
Right.
My real dad never stepped out on my mom or anything, but he did disown me. Right. And then tried to come back in my life, and then went to jail for about 15, 20 years, and then came back 4th of July. Right. And I get it, when I was working at a grocery store, like everything was all cool and dandy. And I'm like, right. And so I basically had to write him. I remember writing him a letter on Facebook telling him, thank you for giving me life, but I don't want nothing else to do with you.
Right.
So that scene was just like a breath of fresh air, because I was just like, damn, like if I really saw him in person and he really wanted to try to make it work, I think that's probably what I would have said too, except the having another kid part. But the fact of her just saying that, and you see in Autumn and Maurice's story how she just feels a lot better, and like it was like a weight lifted off of her.
Right.
Definitely like that. But book 2, that opening,
I know.
Oh, I was in here crying. I was like, oh God.
I got a lot of hell about book 2, too. People felt that I let Autumn kind of take him back quick. But I was like, it's been 5 years. Like, I don't want to, like, I mean, yeah, she's still holding on to it, whatever. But like he still has that hurt or whatever. But I'm like,
I
I mean,
mean,
damn. I'm like, she left for.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but as you
Okay.
read through the story, you still see her with those insecurities. So
Right.
it's not like you can't be like, throughout the whole book, can't be like, well, I'm gonna let him sweat. No, it's been 5 years. And then as you read
Right.
on, you do see her with, okay, well, she still had the same
The
insecurities from 5
doubts,
years ago.
right. Definitely. And like with Fatima's and them story, so and I actually got a lot of inboxes when I wrote Fatima's and them story. That was like my first romance. But I got a lot of inboxes, like people telling me like that they could relate to her, whatever. But Fatima's story is kind of like my story. Like that was kind of like, I won't say my letter to my dad, but that was kind of like my release to the whole situation with, I had a lot of issues with my dad. He wasn't around at first. He came in my life when I was like 13, and like it was just a whole bunch of whatever, like he thought he never really took the time to kind of get to know me. Like just, a lot of ill feelings were there. And so Fatima's story was kind of like my closing of the story for me. Like we have a pretty decent relationship now, but it was kind of me letting go of all of that anger and hurt I was holding on to and kind of just finally moving on from it. Like I'm an adult now. I can't keep on holding on to it. It's gonna hurt me more than it hurts him at the end of the day. So a lot of Fatima's like, he didn't go off and like, leave my mom and get married to somebody. Well, actually, not in that way, but he does like have a wife, and I have other siblings, from his wife. And then there was some previously to me. So like the situation was kind of the same, but it was different at the same time, like different circumstances. But like, that story was like me, like just thinking like him trying to come around thinking everything was cool, and it's just like, no, like, so that whole dinner scene when everything played out was kind of like more so me projecting. And I even say it in the front of the book, a lot of this is kind of based on fictional stuff, even though some of it's been altered. So that story was like real personal to me. Like to this day, no matter what story I write, that would probably be like my favorite.
Wow.
Just because it was basically kind of like mine, truth or whatever, in a way. And then with Autumn and Neil, well, I don't know. I love rekindle love stories. So their story was kind of just something fun or whatever to write, just to, because I felt like the first book was so heavy.
I love how she was so like accepting of Maurice's daughter.
Yeah.
But I honestly thought, well, first of all, he should have said it when they're at the damn picnic that he had a child, instead of her waking up the next morning and realizing she had a child. But that's just me. But the fact that she was just so accepting of it, and I mean, at the same time, what do you think he was going to do for the past 5 years?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like he was waiting on you. Not saying she was waiting on him, but I mean, stuff happens. And I also love how Kyra wasn't like Young's baby mama. Cause my God, that's hot. Let that nigga go, sis. Let him go.
I don't even remember the girl's name, but yeah.
I don't either, but she got my nerves.
Yeah, she was a piece of work, and
she was my nerves.
And Young, but Young never really put her in her place, like he kind of fed off of that. So, I mean, yeah, she was a piece of work, but he fed off of that. So it's like you can't expect her to act accordingly if this nigga's still letting him.
Yeah, but he didn't do that until the last minute, so Parker got fed up with his ass.
He did exactly.
The straw broke on the camera's back of Parker, and she was like, "I'm not
dealing with shit together."
Nothing. That's when he actually finally put her in her goddamn place.
Yes, finally, you gotta show him.
But my last final question is, I just started this last night. I love how you have these fictional cities.
Yay!
I love it. And for the book that I'm currently writing now, I decided to do a fictional city too.
Mm-hmm.
3 different schools. Mine is more so like a high school romance. It is based off a book that I was actually in the process of writing, but I don't know what happened. Like these 2 characters were in my head one day, and like they were like yelling at me to the point where I had like the entire 4 or 5 chapters already out in my head.
Man, that happens
all the time. Like, I'm going to put Jarrell and Aaron to the side real quick and focus on Anthony and Michelle. So Anthony and Michelle for me is Jarrell's older brother, and who's like a running back, went to the same high school as his brother and dad, his dad's a head coach. Senior year, got everything together. But then he falls for a girl named Michelle, who is kind of like Aaron's like play sister. But Michelle has been dealing with a lot of stuff. Like her dad died when she was young. Her mom is very standoffish because of it, because she basically blames Michelle for her dad dying. Then dealing with a dude that sexually molests her to the point something tragic happened that really put Michelle and her mom at strain, to the point where Michelle had to move with her dad's mom. So all that mixed into one, plus high school and all the other stuff. It's a drama, but at the same time it's a love story. So when I read Maple Hills, if you guys don't know, that is her Fiction Friday story, which I'm very excited to see how that finishes, because the way
the Fiction Friday is Honeybrook,
yes, sorry. The way you left Honeybrook was just like, damn, okay, how's like this going? But
I was supposed to do a story this week too, but it's my sister's birthday weekend, and I got like completely thrown off track.
Turn up.
Yes.
But I love how you had like the different visuals on it, to the point where I was like, I think I could probably do this. So I did 3 yesterday. I did the fictional city, the high school, and then the bakery that Michelle works at. Okay. So I just want to say thank you, because that was the first time I ever really did something like that.
Oh, you're welcome.
And you, Nicole Falls, because she does it a lot too. And Christina C. Jones, I honestly only have one book of hers, but somebody was telling me I need to get more books of hers. They do a lot of fictional cities as well.
Right.
But you was the start of it, because I've read my book from you, so I just want to say thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I actually, I know a lot of romance authors, that previous work I've read prior to mine, because my first one was Maple Hills though, but like had did it, like previous to mine, and like when I would read it and I would kind of be able to I would be able to visualize everything that was going on. I was like, okay, that's dope. But then I think the big part of it that made me want to do my own was the fact that they got to make everything theirs.
Yeah.
Like, because I see a lot of readers try to come for authors if they're not from the city they write about, and something's wrong, something's not right, lingo, slang, whatever, buildings, street names, all that, And so I was like, I don't have time for this. I'm from Ohio. Ohio's not interesting. I don't know about Ohio. I lived in Georgia for a little bit, but even then, like, I don't know enough about Georgia to write about Georgia. So I was like, you know what? No. So like I came up, with Maple Hills, and I was like, I can literally make this what I wanted. My rules, my vision, everything. And then Butter Ridge came, which is more of an actual city type, which were like my faster paced kind of books would take place in. And then there's Honeybrook, which is more so, like a coastal town. And that's like adjacent to Sweet Haven. And Sweet Haven's going to be like more of a family owned town. Like, so it's going to be like, a little smaller, intimate. And Honeybrook's kind of just going to be like, people will visit there. There'll be some stories out of there, but that'll be more so like, summer, spring stories, stuff like that. Because, they'll have like beach houses, stuff like that. Yeah. So I just kind of wanted different.
And then you have Linwood too, right?
Huh?
Linwood as well, right?
Linwood, yeah. Linwood's going to be more of kind of like the more urban romancy types, I guess. But, because that's where, and then There Was You takes place. Yes. So it's going to kind of be more like a city, but I probably won't make it as big as a deal as the other ones, because it's just going to kind of be more so of a reference, so I don't have to use like any of the real cities around here to write about. But yeah, so I have those, and I don't know, I just feel like it gives me kind of like a breath of fresh air and more creativity, because I can make anything I want happen in those. So like my next 2 books are based out of I lied. My next 2, I don't know the order they're going to be. So if it's the order in my mind, it's going to go Butter Ridge and then, Maple Hills. But if the Maple Hills story don't talk to me like I want it to, it's going to go Butter Ridge, Maple Hills. Okay. And then eventually, come like springish, I'm going to introduce Sweet Haven and Honeybrook into the actual book, and not just on my blog, So yeah, fictional cities is definitely.
Basically, you're telling us we have a lot coming from you in 2021.
Oh yeah, 2021. I have a lot, I want to do, like when it comes to my books and my brand and, you know, different bundles and things like that. Like I have a lot of different things I want to incorporate from just for my books alone and different like jobs and stuff the heroines and the heroes will be doing. Like I want to do a lot with that, and I want to literally make it like a real life thing. So yes,
I'm here for
it's gonna be
lit. Keep doing what you are doing, Queen. I'm here for everything. I said right now I got on Kindle, but whenever you do release the When You Love Someone's standalone series, I will be buying that. I am definitely buying the Then They Was You series from you personally. Yes. So be on the lookout for that probably like Friday. I'll send my DM through Instagram. Friday.
Got you.
But thank you so much for joining, for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Interviewing, letting me interview. I truly appreciate it. Do you want to my fans to put your Instagram, Twitter, all that jazz? Because I mean, I'll put it in the comments as well, but you can say it too.
Right. Okay, so my like page on Facebook is Tay Mo'nae. My Facebook group is Tay's Book Base. My Instagram is _author Tay Mo'nae, and then my Twitter is author Tay Mo'nae. I write, if you write me whatever, I always respond back. And my latest series, like she was saying, was And Then There Was You. It's a 2-part series. It's completed. Don't know about a spinoff, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed.
Yes. Right now I'm kind of on a little writing break, but my next book will be coming out February-ish. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, join my mailing list. If you text author Tay, one word, to 33777, 737s. So 33777. There we go. If you guys text that, you guys will be able to sign up for my mailing list, or if you go to my website, taylormkirk.com, you can sign up there too. I usually do like sneak peeks there, cover reviews, contest things. Like they'll get my contest stuff first. I send the book links directly there, stuff like that. So join with me. I'm fun. I promise.
I'm on everything, guys. I am on the mailing list, and trust me, it is worth it because that fictional Friday book. Listen.
And I can't wait.
I honestly hope you make that into a actual like paperback book or Kindle book. I definitely will read it again.
And see, I kind of want to, I don't know if I'm going to do it for sure yet because it depends. I got to go look at like the views on my site, but I kind of want to put the fiction Friday stories I do into like a little anthology because I have one that's already on my site from previously. It's called His and Her Side. So I kind of want to put them all in anthology, but I don't know. We'll see. If depending on how far I take the Honeybook story, I might actually make that my first actual Honeybook story and make it into an actual book. So it could happen. I'm not against it. We'll see.
Well, I'm here for everything that you do. So you have a stand on your hands. So.
Yes, I love stands. I love when people can connect to my work, like, and you know, my writing style and everything. Like I love like new readers and everything. Like that literally is like, of course I love my old readers.
Yeah.
But when I get like new readers or whatever, and they like really fall in love with my work, like that really is like, that hits different. So I appreciate you.
No problem. Well, guys, until next time, have faith, have confidence, be you, always love you, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.